Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. We're back. Episode 1676. And I'm surprised I was able to get on before 10 a.m. I did not get much sleep Friday night. Didn't get much sleep last night either. But here I am. Here I am, ready to rock and roll. Great Madison Card Show. We had a lot of fun. Limited fires to put out yesterday, which is one of my goals, like the goal of a Madison Card Show. So what's going on? We did. When was I think I did a show Friday previewing the Madison show. I think. So I did I didn't want to do like a full on eBay live on Friday night because I know what happens. Because I can't sleep after I do a show. It takes me, even when I'm done at like 10, it takes me a while to unwind, decompress, I guess. So I did a short 100 auctions. I think I still went till like 10. I think it was 7:30 to 10, 2.5 hours. I still had trouble getting to sleep. And then Ernie's been a little, I don't know. He's got like a bug. He's been throwing up a little bit, but like he's still like rambunctious. So trying to get him over that. So he's been up through the night the last couple nights. So I went into I went into Friday night show, eBay live show, thinking, this is gonna be like it's gonna be a clunker because I don't have like new inventory. It's just a lot of like lower end stuff. So on the, everybody wants Ohtani and Skeens and Kobe and Jordan and slabs and autos and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I get that on weekends. And then I run a lot of that on Sunday night. And then through the week, it just, dissipates. And by a Friday night, if I haven't gone to the card shop or I haven't gone to any weekend shows, I'm a little low on inventory. So that's the position I was in on Friday night. I'm like, this is going to be kind of a bust. But it wasn't. I like right off the bat, I was getting good bids coming in, energy in the room. When I can't remember if it was like a 90 Griffey went for like 10 or 12 bucks. I'm like, all right, this is going to be a good night. This is going to be a good night. And it ended up, beating my expectations for a short auction. And I want to get into inventory and buying. That's going to be a part of what I went through yesterday. So some of the struggles that I'm facing right now, like where do I go from here? What do I do now? And some of that's been led on by maybe some poor purchases in the last few weeks. Not necessarily poor purchases, but it's like my buying, not getting out of hand, but my buying was not as thought out as maybe it should have been, which, sometimes that happens. But I was able to catch it, and that's what has led me to, this weekend, like, okay, what am I? And I had a great chat with my buddy Craig, and, I think because he was sharing like his thoughts on, where my eBay lives, and he watched a little bit of Friday night show, and, I'm kind of thinking of it from a marketing standpoint, and he kind of countered with some thoughts, which made me think a little bit. It's like, okay, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Which way do I go? So we'll talk about that a little bit. What else is going on? That's about it. Madison Card Show monopolized the weekend, which is that's what I do. So it was despite challenges, it still was a big success. And the challenges, I got a call about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. They actually give me, that's what I like about the Alliant as opposed to the hotel. The Alliant actually gives me heads up when shit is awry, where I typically walk into it on Friday afternoon before a hotel show, which is one of the reasons I just want to let's just do the Alliant. But scheduling just doesn't work out like that. So Alliant gave me a heads up. They called me on a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we've got the model train show. They've got to use like the full on 8-footers that you use. So we're going to be short on 8-foot tables. And they're like, do you want to go down to 6s or do you want to double up the 8s? And I'm like, well, dealers are paying for 8 foot of space. So I can't go down, especially at this point, it's booked and paid. So I don't want to go down that hole. And the rooms are set up for 8 foot. We'd have to completely redesign and map out a 6-foot layout. Not something I want to do. We are used to doubling up tables at the hotel. Like most of the hotel tables are doubled up, or they're at the hotel, they're 6-footers and they're, skinny. I think they're 18. Yeah, they're 18, 6 by 18 inches, 6 foot by 18 inches. So one is not enough, and 2 gets a little wide. So that was the challenge. That was the second challenge. My rep at the convention center said, okay, we can definitely do that, but I've got to lay it out in our floor plan to make sure it meets fire code, because they actually have to meet fire. Well, everybody has to meet fire code, but they get checked. So what happens is the doubled up tables give you 6 more inches. So they're 6 inches wider, which creates a conundrum with the layout. And that's 6 inches times 6 inches times 6 inches times 6 inches. And you're looking at multiple feet that we lose in the walking spaces, the aisles, and we got to meet fire. Fortunately, it did meet fire code. So we were able to do that, and everything worked out. For the most part. Okay. A couple like very small little hiccups. One of the small hiccups was in the sports room, at like where you walk in to the left, the tables were like all the way back to the wall. And there was and still kind of a narrow. So we were able, I had Tom while I was putting numbers on the tables yesterday morning. Shout out to East Coast Tom. Frickin' kills it every month. The show at the Alliant could not be as successful without Tom, because he handles all of the dealers. He does check-in. He sits and covers tables for people, and does a lot of the stuff that it does not go unnoticed. So thank you, East Coast Tom. So I had him moving some tables around to provide a little more space. And then as I'm putting numbers down in the sports room, I go to the other end, like the back end, where there's typically less traffic. And you could drive a truck through the space. So I've got to follow up on Monday with them and say, hey, if in the event this happens again and we have to double up tables again, make sure to lay out the room. Is it equilaterally? Equally, because we had way more space. Like if we want, ideally, I want everything spaced out equal. But if we have to have a wider aisle somewhere, I need it up front, because that gets jam-packed. For some reason, it wasn't as jam-packed yesterday there. But the rest of the floor was. The entire show was pretty jam-packed throughout the day, which leads us to another not hiccup, but it's just the calendar. So typically it's just the Madison Card Show and another event going on. And usually the other events aren't morning events. They're, I think last month December was the Harlem Globetrotters, which was an afternoon game. I think it did overlap us, but it was, like a 1 o'clock start or something. However, this month we had the model train show, which was next door in the big, giant exhibition hall. And then over on the other side was the dog show. And then I think in the small arena, they had roller derby. So there were 4 events going on. I don't even want to go down the parking situation bullshit, because it's annoying as fuck. I see the comments on Facebook. I respond to some of them. I get it. Sucks to pay for parking. Nobody hates the parking situation more than me, because it adds more work. It adds more money because I pay for all the dealers' parking. And I have to send out those parking passes, which takes me about almost 2 hours. to get the parking passes, to get the emails, type everything in because I have to manually do that. And it's a bitch. So I hate it more than, I'd love to just pay $10 and be done with it. I'd love to pay $1,000 and be done with it and not have to worry about it. But not only do I have to pay $2,000, I have to then put 2 hours worth of work on top of that layout. So, but it is what it is. So with the other events going on, there was, and of course they start taking parking. Usually they don't start taking money at my show until 8:30. So I told a couple of the dealers, I'm like, as long as you get there before 8, like you'll be fine. Oh no, they were out there at like 6:30. Like, you sons of bitches. So, the giant log jam. If anybody's familiar with the area, so there's John Nolan Drive. So there's two ways, two exits to get to the Alliant: John Nolan Drive or Rimrock Road. And it was like backed up. In the belt line is like the interstate that wraps around the city. The belt line, the line was like from the parking gate out to the street to Rimrock Road. Rimrock Road down to John Nolan. John Nolan's backed up in each direction. Rimrock's backed up to the interstate. The interstate is backed up all the way back to Monona. So I think I heard some people had to wait as much as an hour to get from the interstate into their parking spot. So, however, there was actually minimal complaints about that. Like, people were annoyed. I mean, I would be too. Like, but not like, I wasn't like fielding nasty. Like, people weren't in my face, wanting refunds and bullshit like that. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. So, that made my day. So let's go to the chat. Where are we at? Royals 417. Good morning. Congrats on the attendance. Thank you. Mark's in the house. Thank you. Jody, good morning. Bronco is here. He was set up yesterday. Appreciate you. Southern Land Cards, what's going on? Good morning. Red Lights in the house. Good morning. By the way, I got a new couch for my eBay Live. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We debuted this on, I think, Friday night's stream. Boom. New couch. eBay Live. Low Roller Scratcher's back. What's going on? Max says, great show yesterday. Thank you. You heard the 1995 Ken Griffey Jr. Pinnacle base card, bubblegum card. It's going up crazy. It's always been a high price. I think I would sell it typically for like $10. You need to go back to estate sales for sports cards again. I do. Gundy says, good morning. Watching USA Canada hockey gold medal game. Tied 1-1 going into sudden death 3-on-3 overtime. Oh, wow. I haven't watched a minute of the Olympics. Are you getting new pallets? I'm not. I quit pallets. Cold turkey. Hola, what's going on? Pokemon is the new king of trading cards. I know. We talked about that last week. Max says the half tables must add some sort of depth. That was nice. Yeah, 6 inches. That's what she said. Royals 417 says, let's go hockey. Max says, are you able to run some sort of Excel sheet for parking pass emails? So, yeah, not really. Yes, but it's still manual entry. Because the parking pass website, I have to basically type in. Like, I can't, there's not a way on the parking pass website to import a spreadsheet. So basically I have to go into the Treasure website, copy and paste, and the Treasure website's not easy. And the Treasure website does spit out a spreadsheet. I was doing that, but it was actually quicker for me to copy and paste it from the website as opposed to copy and paste it from the spreadsheet. So unfortunately, there's not a way to import the spreadsheet. Donald's in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Royal says U.S. Southernland says USA, USA, USA. Uncle Rich in the house. Good morning. LTNS. I don't know what that means. Nice crowd yesterday. Jackie with the golden goal. USA on the 46th anniversary of the USA-USSR game. Let's see. Donnie says, Pekin Illinois card show was good, but some cards got stolen from some dealers. We did not have any. I commented. I got to respond to that. Somebody commented on the Facebook post last night that thieves get in, but I did not take a single theft report yesterday. So I don't know what that guy was talking about, but have we had it in the past? Absolutely. Every show does, but I didn't take any theft reports. We actually reunited 3 lost items. 3 lost items reunited. Tom took care of one. One of them was Paul, my buddy. Paul runs the BCW supplies. He was back for the first time in a while, and he's like, "Hey, some kid like left this." He's like, "There's a lot of good cards in there, so he's probably going to be looking for it." And like an hour later, I'm at the booth, like I think like right next to him, and this kid's like running around frantic, like asking dealers, like, "Have you seen a box of cards? I left it somewhere. I can't find it." And I'm like, hey, I know where I might know where it's at. I'm like, "Paul, this kid box," and he like holds it up, and the kid's like, "Yes, that's my box." And then we had another one where kid left like $1,000 in a box with $1,000 in cards at a table. And he's like, "It was at this table," and they packed up and they left and they took it away. I'm like, "Okay, let me figure out who was at this table." Got their number, called, left a voicemail, sent a text. And Tom came in and he's like, "Hey, this was left at one of the tables. The dealers handed it to me on their way out." I'm like, "Oh, thank God." This kid's freaking out. So that all worked out. So very good. Very good to have that. I didn't have to post anything. Did you lose this? Let's see. Max says, "Damn, that sucks a lot." Yeah, it's a real giant pay, like 2 hours. Like it literally took me 2 hours this month to do parking passes, which is not time well spent. When I'm spending money, when I'm spending money on top of it, not what I want to do. So, if anybody is upset about paying for parking, I'm the one that's most upset because I have to pay for it times 200. Long time no see. Aha. Uncle Rich says, "I saw my former Beckett teammate rock latex at the card show yesterday, and we discussed, you and I would discuss about charging, not charging admission." I am now on team charge for admission because I think you should. I think you should because venues are not cheap. And if it's minimal. Now, I'm not saying like some of the East Coast shows are like $5 admission for like a 40 table VFW show. I don't think that's necessary. But I think especially for a 250 table show, like I think $5 is pretty fair to walk into a show with 250 tables. I mean, I go through old Beckett magazines and look at like Wisconsin shows, Green Bay, Madison, Milwaukee, and it's like $2 admission for a 40 table show. And that's in 1990. So I've definitely turned my ways, and the hotel I just can't. I just there's no way around it because unless I close the downstairs ballroom, but then I'm losing 42 tables. So I'd rather take the 42 table money instead of some money, and then we're down to like a 100 table show. So is it 100? It'd be 8. No, it'd be 80 table show because there's 80 tables in the ballroom upstairs, 40 downstairs. USA Gold. Good. Jewish boy, Jack Hughes. Ken Griffey Jr. There you go. It was $10 when I was selling it. $5 is cheap for the quality of dealers you get for the 250 tables. I agree, 100%. Max says, "I think you would benefit to add a disclaimer on your flyer charged by Alliant, not Madison Card Show." I probably will do that. Dane County charges it. Well, Alliant is owned by Dane County. Dane County essentially is in charge of that. So yeah, and they only had 2 parking gates open. They have 4. Not cool. Hopefully like the city or the state or whoever, like, hey, you've got a fucking traffic jam on the fucking belt line because you can't find 2 more people to staff your goddamn parking gates. Not that I'm upset or anything. Tom slept in, missed USA winning gold. Definitely needed the sleep after yesterday's craziness. Absolutely. I got a little bit of sleep. Here we are. 5 is okay. You missed your shout out, Tom. 5 is okay. Our regional show charges 7. Okay. There you go. Uncle Rich says, unless you hire people at each entrance, and that's a different cost. Right. Yeah. And I'm not going to do, I'd have to hire somebody anyway, to do, admission like I do with the Alliant. Royals 417 says, I don't get the complaints on admission. You are being provided a service that usually comes at a price for the promoter. Absolutely. Like, despite what people think, it's actually a lot of work to run a card show. It's not that the tables just magically appear and it's a free venue and dealers just magically show up and there's no work involved on the back end. And there are costs besides just the venue rental and all that. And somebody was like, do you have like one of the dealers? Cause I think it was because it was doubled up. They're like, do you have a table skirt? And I'm like, no. I'm like, do you want a table? If you want table skirts, we're going to raise prices another $10-15 because it was $10 last year for just a table skirt. $10 per table skirt. I was talking to another dealer about wanting to charge his phone. I'm like, the outlets don't work. Like, you got to pay for it. It's $160 per outlet. I'm like, it's fucking dick. The stanchions to separate the cash crowd for the prepaid tickets crowd. $150 just for the stand, just for 6 or 8 stanchions. So there's a cost for literally everything, just about. Rich can vouch for the work involved at a card show. Absolutely. Those dealers that want skirts, the dealers that want skirts have their own, don't bother. Oh yeah. I am not paying, $10 for skirts. Cause half the time at the, hotel, the skirts are on, which fortunately I don't have to pay for them at the hotel. But the skirts are on and they're, I see many of them balled up because people bring their own. It's like, well, but you never know which, especially if it's a new dealer, you don't know, are they going to bring their own skirt? I don't care if it's balled up. It gets taken care of, but I'm not paying for it. If I was paying for it, it'd be like, okay. And I think when I talked about it, it's like, it's all or nothing. Like, I can't just order table skirts. Like if Max wanted a table skirt, like I can't just say, oh, I need 25 table skirts. I need them at table 77 and 78 and 110 and 144. It's you get table skirts on every single table and you're paying $10 per, or you're getting 0 table skirts and you're not paying for table skirts. So I choose not paying for table skirts. So we had a little adventure. First time. There's a first time for everything. I was alerted by my staff up front that there was an older man who came into the show, paid his $5 admission, and then started announcing to everyone that he's here because he got kicked out of the train show for being drunk at noon. Hey, it's Wisconsin. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, give me a description. I'm just going to keep my eyes out on this. So I'm wandering around and a couple of my dealers like waved me over just like 15 minutes later. And they're like, hey, you won't believe this, but man, we just had a weird interaction. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, what happened? They're like, this old short guy came walking down this aisle and he came up to our table, didn't even look down at our table. And he just stared at me right in the eyes and says, "You didn't see me and I didn't see you." And then he shuffled his feet to the other guy and just started babbling incoherently. Like, we don't know if he doesn't speak English or like if something's going on. Like, all right. Like, what's the description of this guy? I'm like, oh, hat, sunglasses, older guy. Okay. All right. I think I might know who you're talking about. So I go up to confirm the description matches. It does. I'm like, all right, we got to go find this guy. So my buddy's son who helps, he was keeping an eye out in the front. I walked. I didn't see him because I did kind of a once over in the sports room. I went over to the Pokemon side. Didn't see anything, but then somebody waved me over and they're like, "Hey, we found him." So he was sitting down just outside the Pokemon room on a chair, and like you could tell, and he's drinking a tall boy, which is okay. Like, they serve beer at the concession stand. You can have beer; it's okay, but you can't be like drunk around kids in a fucking card show. So like, I'm not gonna have that. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on this until I can find security. And Tom came over, so I tell Tom what's going on, and security came over, and I said, we got to get this guy out of here. And I'm like, okay, let me get the other guy. So the other guy comes up, and he's like, well, what do we do? And I'm like, I don't know, get him out of here, kick him out. So they called like a senior security guy. So he came over and talked, and like, you can't take the beer with you. So he threw a beer away. Tall boy. Tall Miller Lite, 16 or 24 ounce. Then a second one. And then he was still drinking the third. So then he chugged the third one. Can't let good beer go to waste. And so he got escorted out. Now the concern is we can't let him get into a car and drive, like if he drove here. So security was figuring that out. He was sitting outside of the bench. They're like, he's got to leave security is like, he's got to leave the property, like not just the venue, like the whole property. So I think they figured out he got dropped off, which is good. They called the cops, and so he got escorted by the Madison Police Department to the nearest gas station where apparently his brother dropped him off, and his brother came and picked him up. So that's a first. So that was Adventures in Card Show promoting. Let's see. Where are we at? Max says, not going to complain about having them, but don't want to pay for them. Exactly. And that table skirts, that's how I feel. Max says, I know it's Wisconsin, but I can't believe the amount of beers I saw yesterday. I didn't really notice it. Every once in a while, it's like 10 o'clock and I see a beer. I'm like, oh, that's kind of early. Light's not good beer. Oh, I agree. I don't even touch Miller Lite. But he probably thought it was a good beer. Sounds like the issue is concessionaires. I don't even know if it was that. I mean, the concession stand at the card show didn't even sell Miller Lite. Maybe they sold all the Miller Lite to this guy. But it was Busch Light. And he was kicked out of the other show for being drunk. So my thought is he was probably drunk when he got there in the morning. So I don't know, but we got it taken care of. Glad that the cops were called. Not a fan of second chances. Max says 3 dealers within 2 to 3 tables by 10 had beer open. Wow. Rich says, one of my older dealer buddies from way back in the day used to rent a separate room at one of my friend's card show. He paid for it, and I tell you, they got high in there while buying and selling cards. That's all I saw was really. Well, I didn't go up until the end of the day. They only had Busch Light by the end of the day, so maybe they just ran out because all the dealers in your room were drinking Miller Lite, I guess. Yeah, I think I know they sell Miller Lite at the venue, but by the time I was at the concession stand later in the day, there was no Miller Lite left because apparently a lot of people were drinking it. Busch Light was not a favorite choice of the crowd, but I think those are the only in White Claw. I think they only sell Miller Lite, Busch Light, and White Claw for beers. But I mean, this is the first issue at the Alliant since they do sell beer. I mean, a lot of venues, a lot of card show venues. I mean, the National, the Sports Spectacular, like a lot of shows, the concessions sell beer. This is the first time that I've ever had that, and I don't think it was, I don't think he was getting there at 9 and slamming beers while he was at the show. I think he probably had a good, he was probably turning it up before he came to the train show, chugging beers at the train show, and then came over to chug beers at the card show. Max says, I mean, I can't leave my table during the show, so just whatever was preferred around me. Sounds like I missed a fun show. It was. I mean, it was a good show. So I was buying, and I'm on a buying. Well, I'm not on a buying kick. I'm always on a buying kick, but I was like going into the show. I don't know what. There was a flip that switched inside my brain, like at 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I got cold feet buying. Now I still spent I don't think I spent as much as I did last month, but I probably spent around the same as I did at the December show. So I still spent a good amount of money, but I didn't buy a lot. I think I only bought a few cards that were over $100. And I think you know what? The only cards I spent over $100 on might have been wrestling, and I lose money on those, which is why I was a little hesitant on buying a lot of $100 cards yesterday. Even like 50 and 75. It's like, I don't know if I can make money on this stuff. Now, I bought a shitload of slabs, but I found a couple bargain slabs. I really filled up on like dollar stuff, $1, $2, $3 cards. My buddy Dan came in from Schaumburg to set up, and he's got great bargain boxes. He's got it separated by player. So I get to his Ohtani, and I'm like, and he's got him like 50 cents and $1, quarter, 50 cents and $1. And I'm like, oh, Ohtani at $1 and under, I'm just taking the whole stack. Ken Griffey Jr., I'm taking the whole stack. Aaron Judge, I'm taking the whole stack. And then he had like some Yamamoto, some other stuff. I'm like, yep, taking the whole stack. So I built a nice little box with him. Craig always hooks me up. I ended up buying close to 500 cards from him. That's where I got the Undertaker auto. I got some slabs from Mark, a few Jordan slabs. Let's see, Denny. I got some good stuff from Denny. Who else did I buy? I can probably look. There were a couple. The one dealer I bought a bunch of baseball slabs from last month. His stuff was like really picked through this month. But I bought a nice stack of slabs from him. Another dealer had like cheap, like $10 slabs, and I'm like, oh, for $10. There's like Barry Sanders, and I'm like in an 8, which is decent. Like I'll easily make money on that. And then I'm like, I just happened to look over, and he's got a whole box of like 1948 Leaf football, 1950 football, like a 2-row of slabs. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm not done. So I'm like, I got this huge pile of slabs, and I'm like, what can you do? So I think sticker came out to be like $1,005. So I paid $850 for that. What did I buy from them? I can't even remember what I bought from them. I spent $100 at a table. I don't even remember what I bought. I got wrestling. I got a CM Punk auto from Nathan. CM Punk, Nikki Bella, and 2 others. I can't remember what the other 2 were, but I 4 autos from him. Spent $280 on cheap slabs. So I think I talked about this bought this. I think I talked about this after the last show. One of the dealers, first time dealer at my show, had a box of like junk slabs, but there were some like off-brand Randy Johnson rookies, and he had like $10 or 2 for 15. And I'm like, I should have bought them all. So I went back and like, oh, he was back. Like I didn't see his name on the roster, that group on the roster, but must have been booked under a different name. So he had them. So I just started picking out like, and I bet there's 20 of them. So I picked out a whole stack. So I think I got that stack for probably like $6-7 a slab. Let's see, Dan and Denny, Mark and Craig. So I spent let's see. Did I spend January? Oh yeah, I spent a lot last January. I mean, I didn't spend double what I spent, but almost. Yeah, almost double what I spent. So the December show, what I spend in December. Okay, so I spent around the same. I spent a little bit less than what I spent in the December show. So, but I started looking at tables, and I don't know if stuff was overpriced because I don't comp. Like even when I'm at a table, because comps mean nothing for me on eBay Live. I can sell dollar cards all day in the right stream, in the right room for $10 to $20. I can sell a $20 card for $5. So comps mean nothing. I have to go by what I think, and this is why I don't comp. I have to go by what I think my typical room will pay for cards. That's why I don't pay 80%. I can't pay 80% because if it's, I did pay 80% on some stuff from the shop last week or 2 weeks ago. And like, I can't do that because I'm not going to get 80% of the last sale or comps on a Marcus Mariota autograph. It's like, so there's some of that. Now there was some stuff, again, this is why comps mean nothing. There were some stuff that was $5 that I sold for 20. So it all equals out. But when it's loaded with, some of that higher dollar stuff of players that people don't want, I'm like, I'm going to get crushed on that stuff. So I've got to be careful with what I buy in that, $50 range, the $50 to $100 range, and especially when it gets higher. So I had a little cold feet, and I don't know if it just didn't seem like, not that everything was overpriced. It just seemed that, because I didn't comp anything, it's probably at comps everything. Maybe not. But it just seemed that the prices didn't reflect what I can make money on eBay Live. But that also changes. There was a time, and I think I was telling Mark this yesterday, Big Mark, that, I bought a whole bunch of slabs from him back last June, and I like tripled my money on, I had like a Shaquille O'Neal PSA 6 rookie sell for like $80. You can get a 9 PSA 9 for probably less than that. And I think I paid 10 for it. So like a lot of that stuff at one time, I crushed it. There was a time where Dan Marino I was just crushing it on Dan Marino, and now it's flipped. So I made some bad. So I see Mark's comment here. So why am I concerned with buying? It's because I've made a couple poor buying. Like the bulk lot I got from the card shop was not a good buy because I paid 80% on comps in bulk, which I can't do. And especially when it's Trevor Lawrence and Marcus Mariota, like I just can't do that. Now I made money on some stuff, but like there's Marvel stuff that I just tried to run, and like I'm looking at the price sheet and it's like $10 and I sell it for $2. And the next one's $8 and I sell it for $2. And the Trevor Lawrence, I think I was surprised by the Trevor Lawrence result. I have that sheet somewhere. It got pretty close to what I paid for, but I still lost money on it. And there's just been some other buys that I've made that haven't turned out in my favor. And some of it's all my, it's me. Like, I'm not blaming anybody but myself, because it's what I chose to buy. And I'll pay that for that. And I think there came a time where, and this is something when you're always buying, you've got to be conscious of what your spend is based, hey, my spending has gone up, but my margins have not. My margins are kind of, am I still making money? Absolutely. But I'm not making as much money as, I was last month or whatever. So, and a big part of that, my spend went up last month because of the 86 Fleer basketball set. That was still, I broke even. I had a professor, and a professor probably got it from, I don't know, somebody. I'm sure it wasn't him that made it up, but breaking even makes you starve or something like that. But in the case of the 86 Fleer basketball set, I want to continue doing that now. Am I going to continue doing that on a weekly basis? Fuck no. But I'm running a 61 top set. Now, I don't think I overpaid for the 86 Fleer basketball set. And I knew that. I knew I was overpaying for that. I was overpaying because I needed that. That was the perfect set at the perfect time where I can run that. eBay's doing a special NBA All-Star weekend. They're going to be on board with it because I'm going to run a Jordan rookie at $1 start. They're going to get behind me and pump it. So I can make this work. And it did. I thought I would get more. When I look back at the stats, I thought I would have more new. I gained like 100 followers from it. I had probably, what was my percent on new? I think it was 12% on about 4,000 views. I had 4,000 viewers, which is awesome. So I had 480 new viewers, and I got 100 followers out of it. So that's actually pretty good. 20% follower rate on new viewers is pretty damn good. So and this is what my conversation with Craig was. He's kind of leading me, like, stick to this stuff because you can make those margins. But my counter is yes, but not all the time. Like on a Tuesday night, if I'm paying $3-4 for this card, I might only sell it for $1 or $2. Like, and I pulled out and I gave him an example. Like, he's got $5 boxes. Now I get a good deal. He gives me a great discount. But I pulled out a Termar First Bowman paper, Termar Johnson, and I'm like this won't even sell for $1 on eBay Live. And in fact, I've got I did when I had my store, I had 150 Termar Johnson First Bowman papers in my store for like $1.75 free shipping, and they didn't sell. So I've got to be careful with, what I buy, because some of that stuff. Now, there could be, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes market's super soft because he got hurt, and now we're in the off season. Patrick Mahomes, I'm probably only selling those for $1 or $2 right now. So I've just got to be careful with what I buy. There's low risk. With with basically everything that I bought yesterday, with the exception of the wrestling autos, because I take a bath on wrestling autos. But it's like, if I find some wrestling stuff, we'll run. And I think I'm going to do a short wrestling show. I'm not going to do a 200 or 250 auctions where I've got to fill it with what do you want? Oh, Andre the Giant, and just fill it with crap. I'm going to do 100 auction show. Maybe I do a double header. Maybe I do, all right, we're going to do wrestling now and we'll do a sports show later. I might do that. Might do 2 different shows on Saturday night. I think that's when the pay-per-view is. So, and I think, and that might help where it's not a long drawn out show. And yeah, we're getting to the Undertaker auto, CM Punk, Nikki Bella, 2 other autos I bought, I think. I might have bought another auto or 2. I don't even remember. I got home and I just kind of laid on the couch and vegged out, looked at a couple things, but so that's kind of that's where my concerns are, where I don't know. I'm still crushing it on eBay Live. But I was talking to Steve from Sports Card Grading about, where do we go from here? Because they're going to add more and more. And we have that first user advantage where we can build this thing up. And as more viewers come in, we can try to capture those new viewers. And that's why I want to run 86 Fleer and stuff. Because if I'm just running the same stuff, I'm going to get the same viewers and I'm not going to grow. And I want to grow. And I want to grow that average sales price. And I've got some goals that I want to reach. And I'm not going to reach those goals by selling dollar cards. So that's kind of where I'm at, where I was really debating as I'm looking at table after table after table. It's like there was one dealer that had cheap T206 slabs. This is something, Mark, I should have probably texted you about. But he's set up at the last couple shows. I might just reach out. I'll text you about it, but I'll tell you about it now. And if you're so inclined, text me. But he had a whole like row of like low grade, and actually some were like threes, which I know is low grade, but I consider a 3 in a T206 a decent grade. There was no Hall of Famers. There was no stars. It was, there were some like Philadelphia. There was like a T207, I think, Philadelphia Athletics. There were a couple of those. There might have been a Tiger. There were a couple Cubs. One of them I had. But I was just like, I was just hesitant. I was hesitant to buy it. I don't know why. I don't know. I do know why, but I don't know why. And he had like decent prices. And I was telling Tom this at dinner after the show, like it would have been, if I could have got, a little discount on them, and they were in the, I would say the $60 to $100 range. Basically ones, twos, and threes, T206 commons. And I think were they all PSA? I think they were all PSA. They weren't like off-brand grading companies. They were PSA or SGC. I can't remember. And then he had some like Gaudis and stuff. And but the T206s were PSA ones, twos, and threes of commons were in the $60 to $100. Most were like around $75. Which I think is, when you look on eBay, the thing about eBay, when I've shopped for T206, I get way better deals at card shows than I do on eBay. Like there's not a lot on eBay, and they're high priced. It's like, geez, I saw this at a card show for, this is listed on eBay for 200. I saw it at a card show for 80, the same grade. So that was one, and it's like, do I drop $1,000 on 10 to 12 slabs, maybe even up to 15 slabs, maybe say 15 slabs, $1,000. I'm into it for about $80, $85 a slab on these T206s. My thought process in my eBay live streams is I run it, on a Sunday night. Tonight usually, hopefully goes well. Usually Sunday nights are good. And it's like, hey, I've got a T206, and it could be a common. And it might sell for $150. I think I sold one of my Cubs with way oversold what I thought it would on live. So that's where I'm like, how do I spend my money? Where do I put that money to not only avoid losing, but also growing my audience at the same time? And I'm going to continue the themed set breaks. I'm running a 61 top set break not tomorrow, Thursday. So Thursday night, 1961 tops baseball. I have the complete set, even the high numbers. And it's actually pretty decent. I've got some of here's the Mantle. This is the Mantle high number all-star. And it's a nice card. They're all crease free. That one's little off center left to right, but good looking card. Denny had one of these in his case, and he was asking me, I'm like, actually mine looks exactly like yours in your showcase. So that's the here's the Mantle. Again, off center. 61, just notorious off centering. So those are some. I have a bunch of the. I think I've got 212 of the stars and some of the rookies posted in my eBay store under the Thursday night eBay Live 61 Tops set break stream. I've got to get photos of the mantles and errands and stuff like that. So yeah, and I think I got a good price. It's public information. So I'll share it. Did I get this from Heritage? Yeah, I think so. And I should be getting my collector and CIA auction winnings hopefully in the next week or so. I think I won like 12 or 13 auctions from their auction last week or 2 weeks ago. All right, what did I pay for that set? I feel like I got a pretty good deal. I paid after buyer premium. I paid $3,660. I feel like that's a good deal. $3,660. I mean, my high bid was $4,000. So, and with buyer's premium, that would have been $4,880. So I was willing to pay another $1,200. And I think, I think Mark said I think it will crush. All right, I'm going to go into the chat here. Let's see. Max, I agree 100%. The users are the issues. Andy says, a flip that switched. You having breakfast beer today? No. JG says, sounds like it's back to your roots. Low end, bottom of the barrel crap. LOL. No, that is not the case. Let's see. I was a lot more curated yesterday and understand your thoughts. Buying from shops is always tough. It is. And I get it. Like there's a lot of overhead. Bradley says you win some, you lose some when flipping cards. In the end, all you want is more wins than loss. That's true. Look at the world's best gamblers only win 54% of the time. Uncle Rich says sometimes to run something special, we call them loss leaders, but you got to win sometimes. Right. And I mean, overall, like the collection I bought on Wednesday, I tripled my money already. And I haven't even emptied I've got 2 totes that I still need to bring into the basement. Now, I think a lot of that's going to be junk that goes to my storage unit. But there's still, I still like some of the vintage that was in there. Like I didn't even expect much vintage. There was some vintage that went pretty well on Friday night, $10-15 for cards that I'm like, oh, this was a nice little surprise. Your reason for 86 Fleer makes sense. Yeah. And I think I've got to do, now that was good timing, but I've got to think ahead for like other events. Like, is there a tie-in for March Madness that I can run? Now, I don't think so, but I'll still run. Like I'm still going to run. Well, for March, am I going to be in Arizona? I might be in Arizona. I don't know, but some of that stuff. Obviously, I'm going to be baseball heavy when I do my streams out in Arizona. Maybe I can talk one of my friends that happens to be a big leaguer on coming onto one of my streams while I'm out there. Uncle Rich says, on the level I play at, that is why value box diving is getting harder as I have a competition with the whatnot crowd. Yeah. The funny, the guy that I bought the Randy Johnsons from, and there was other stuff in there too, but it was like 20 to 25 Randy Johnson slabs. And he's like, are you a big Randy Johnson fan? And I'm like, nope, just going to flip them. I'm like, no reason to be coy. I'm just going to resell them. So, and like, that's another thing, being the show promoter. Like, I'm not going to sit here. I'm promoting my live streams on the Madison Card Show website. I'm not going to be coy and be like, oh no, I love Randy Johnson. I'm a big fan. And like, no, I'm going to fucking resell them. So if you give me a deal or not, I don't care. Like $10, if I have to pay full price, I'll pay full price. I also don't want, like, if a dealer asks me for a discount, I'm like, no, I've got a waiting list. I'm not giving anybody discounts. If there's a table open, it's going to sell. I haven't not sold out a show in 3 years. So, I don't expect discounts from my dealers. So that's why if I'm buying in bulk, I'll say, what can you do on this? But I'm not going to fucking negotiate, they don't negotiate with, I wouldn't want them to negotiate. I'd tell them to F off. Like, how about, I don't want to pay $100 for this table. How about we do 90? Like, no, fuck off. I'll fill it with somebody else. Let's see. Talked about the T206s. That's about current retail on the T206. You need a discount to get those for your shows. The T206s is tough though, because sometimes they, like with a lot of things, a lot of stuff on live sells for triple comps. But a lot of stuff sells for half of comps. You know, I was talking to Craig because I bought an Undertaker auto. Now, it wasn't the Undertaker auto I ran during my first wrestling night was a numbered out of 5. And so it was, you know, it comped at like 350, somewhere around there. And I think it sold for like 160. I can't remember what it sold for. So that was like, but the one I bought from Mark yesterday, paid 175 for it. And the thing is, it'll probably sell for the same what the number to 5 did. Because I think a lot of people, kind of with slabs, like a certain crowd of live buyers don't care about the number. They're buying the card that's protected by the slab. Like there is, I know to a lot of us, and probably most of us, we find that just absolutely unbelievable, but that's kind of like with me with the stuff in that showcase. Like those are 1s and 2s for the most part. Now my Jimmy Ryan is a 5 though. But those are mostly 1s and 2s. There's a couple 3s in there, and for the vintage stuff, for the pre-war stuff. But I'd rather have the 1s and 2s. Like I want the card. Like I don't care about the number. In fact, they look fake. Like the tobacco card in a 8 looks fake. I'd rather have the 1. It has a little character to it. It's got, you know, it's been loved. Where we at? Max says, don't spill again, Cooter. Mark says that 61 set should crush. It has a lot of mantle variations. Yeah, there's what, like 4? There's the regular card. There's the high number. There's the MVP. And then there's like a mantle home run card that's, you know, it's a great card for like somebody that wants a mantle but doesn't want to pay $100. Like that home run card for the world. I think it's is it the World Series set? World Series home run, maybe. 61 high numbers are overall the toughest high numbers of the 60s. Excellent. Derry Lance is another great show. I had put together a stack for you after you looked like you had to put out a fire. Oh, shit. That might have been the drunk guy. That might have been the drunk guy. And if you got a Bill Mazeroski number 430 that is a short print and with his recent passing, hype that a minute or two. I have them all. Marischal rookie is a short print. You did great. The break is awesome on 61s for the best cards. The commons, well, the low series are easy. Low roller is a smart gambler. Mark says, oh yeah. So Mark got a Sandy Koufax 1965 World Series ticket. I'll be right back. All right, so this tub. Oh, geez. So this tub was. Oh, god damn it! I had shit everywhere. All right, so this tub. So Mark bought a Sandy Koufax Game 1 ticket. That apparently is very valuable, and I've got a bunch of twin stuff going back to 65, including. I think the guy that I got, my buddy that I got this from, I think his dad worked in media. So I've got the Padfolio, the 1965 World Series Padfolio, Minnesota 1965 World Series, presented by the St. Paul Dispatch or whatever. So so this is like Minnesota Twins. These are from 81. Season passes, 1981. But I know there's some. I know there's 65 World Series stuff. Like here's 91 World Series program. My buddy's check stub from there's no date on it, but here's an unopened letter to my buddy. 1987 pin. All right, I don't know if there's there was a whole bunch of tickets. I mean, hundreds. Like he kept everything. We're talking hundreds, if not thousands, of ticket stubs. I just didn't think they were worth anything. I don't know if they were in this. Like that's what the hell is this? There's no baseball in it, but like literally kept everything. Here's like the picture pack. Bumper stickers. Coffee mug. All right, I don't think the stubs. Where did I put the ticket stubs? Might have some. I think there's a second storage tub of stuff. I think there's a second storage tub of stuff. Like here's some stuff. These are newer stubs. 82, 82, 82, 82, 82, 83. Cubs stub, Cubs card. What year is this? 82, 82, 82. Those are all 82s. Just throw them in there. So yeah, I've got to look for that other tub because there's like hundreds. And there might have been a sheet of those passes for the 65 World Series. I'll have to see. I don't know where that stuff is. It's not in this. This is kind of the junk tub with all the a mishmash of stuff, but there's another tub that has most of the tickets and all that other stuff. Offload the junk and you will be even better off. That my spring, I don't know if I talked about this, my spring cleaning, my spring goal. Once I get back from spring training and get things, get my feet under me again, is I want to get a lot of my shit moved to, I want to get rid of all my bulk, all my non-Cubs bulk from my basement to my storage unit and then just blast it. Sell it all. Cooter says the 61 Twins team card is tough to find. Paid more for it than the 67 Red Sox. Rich says the place I went to Rip Night was a tad off, but they had a good pizza and I watched the Cubs exhibition game. Hey, that's a win. That's a win. So I'll take that. There you go. I'll take that as a win. Common Base says it looks the part. Andy says, in a way, any PSA slab you get under $25 is a deal. That's true. And that's something else Steve and I were talking about yesterday, where it's like, it costs $25 to grade. It's not something, I guess I do say it. But I prefer it when the chat, I don't like bringing up comps unless I get crushed on a card. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's $100 card. You just got it for $40. Because I can say you got a great deal. But I don't like saying, why did you just spend $74 for a quarter card of Kenneth Walker? So it's like I just kind of I'm quiet when they keep bidding. It's like, what? Stop bidding, please. You're wasting your money on this Kenneth Walker. Rich says Mantle is on League Leaders, Thrills, MVP, Base, All-Stars, World. Oh, wow. So he's on. Oh, yeah, League Leaders. I forgot about the League Leaders. Tom says this programming break brought to you by the Madison Card Show. Common Base says a 1 and 2 tobacco card looks the part. I like it. That's why I like it. Jody says LOL. Mark says it's the game he set out for Yom Kippur. The Russian tea room. What's going on? Good morning. Rich says, bring that type of stuff to the National for Wednesday, Thursday. That is the type of stuff those intense collectors look for. This garbage behind me in this tub. Found treasures in the house. That dude says stadium promotional giveaways can be highly sought after, especially VIP stuff. Huh. Yeah, there's a lot of crap in here. Here's this is still in its, a lot of it's still in its packaging. Crest toothpaste, 1985 All-Star Game keychain. Here's a 1991 Twins collector's pin. A lot of pins. Here's an 87 Twins World Series pin. This is probably stuff I should just list on in my Buy It Now store. 87 World American League champions. A couple of those. Here's Joe Mauer's alma mater. Now, he wasn't there in 1985. The 1985 Rain Dance on the Indians, Cretin Durham. Is it Cretin Durham Hall? Cretin Durham High School. Homecoming. That's where my buddy went to high school. Here's a ring, replica ring. 87 World Series champion replica ring. Here's a Target towel, Vikings. Purple Pride. Look at all the junk. Look at all the junk. Probably twin schedules. Everything else. It might be, the schedules might be with the tickets. This is stuff I got last summer from my buddy. Here's a Drive Time 91. It's like a handkerchief or something. Hopefully not used. What's this? It's like a flag. Oh, another handkerchief. Oh, Ernie's up. 87 world champions. A couple of those. Here's a Twins all-time greatest team ruler. Static decal. More pins. Yeah, this is great. This is stuff I probably, especially with baseball season starting up, I should probably sticker Twins Cardinals World Series. I should probably list some of this stuff in my eBay store. More picture cards. Here's a Vikings pin. Here's a 25th anniversary patch. Here's a sealed cassette tape of Go Vikes. Jesus. Another button. Here's a Vikings blow-up super sword. Another keychain. Oh, magnets. These are from the 90s. It's like a treasure hunt. Yearbooks, programs. Jesus. These are all pins. 85 All-Star Game. 85 All-Star Game. All 85 All-Star Game. Bruce Springsteen, I assume. Prince Purple Rain pin. These might be pretty valuable. I don't know. Another Purple Rain. Another Twins button. Another Prince. This must be like a keychain or something. Another Bruce. Limited. Oh, Little Red Corvette. This must be the Prince bag. Ooh, is this a coin? Oh, there's a coin in here. There's a silver dollar. Susan B. Anthony. I didn't expect to be digging through this on a Sunday morning. Classic IGA bag. More pins. A lot of pins. Jesus. Oh, St. Louis Cardinals World Series pin. All right. I want to go find the good stuff with the tickets. I don't know where I put that other tub at. All right, so that's what I had for today. Let's see where we at. Homer hankies. Lot it up. Love me some cool team packs. Can you sell tickets, buttons on eBay Live, or would you? So when I got all this stuff, I did run. I had a big Minnesota fan in my stream, so I ran some of it, and some of it did okay. I don't know. Like, I mean, you have to have you would have to have two Twins fans that want oddball stuff to be in the room at the same time. Otherwise, it's going to sell for $1 if it does sell at all. I think it's kind of stuff that's probably best to just leave on eBay. Buy it now. Donald will buy the St. Louis World Series pin. And plus, it's stuff. If that was all Cubs stuff, I would not, even though I'm a diehard Cubs fan and I have everything Cubs, I wouldn't be I'm not actively looking and buying pins and buttons and stuff. So very, very niche stuff. All right, I'm going to go. I've got some shipping to do. I think my buddy Jackson's going to come and do some sorting for me this afternoon. Yep, he just texted me. All right, so I'm going to get going. All right, like and subscribe. Hit me up tonight, eBay Live, 7:30 Central. Can you just not change the start price of the auction and use it as a buy it now? So this is another thing I talked about. Steve and I had an in-depth conversation on eBay Live, trying to fix the world's problems, eBay Live at a time. The one thing that I don't like about eBay Live is I wish, and I don't know if there's any platform, I would love to be able to sell multiple things. And I'm sure Whatnot, you can show your buy it now. I can display buy it now items in my stream, but it's very clunky. I don't know, you have to actively, it's not you can't push it to the screen. You've got the buyer or the people in the room have to actively click the buttons to see what you have available. So, I mean, it's something that I probably could do if I remember. So yeah, that's probably something I could do. It's really clunky and you have to have people in the room that are going to be proactive to look in that place. And I can like, hey, click the 3 buttons in the top right corner and see what I have in my buy it now section. I wish there was a way to make it a little more clear. There's a lot of things with eBay Live. I need to, I think maybe on the plane, on the flight to spring training, I will put together my laundry list of things that I would like to see. Not that they would ever get implemented, but at least it's submitted. All right, I'm going to go. Have a great day, and we'll see you when I see you, hopefully tonight on eBay Live.